Hello students, we are going to start our chapter 2, Lost Spring. It is written by Anis Jung. It is an extract from the book called The Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. It has a tinge of irony, since the spring being the best season of a year, it is full of color, fragrance, freshness, renewal and growth. Similarly, the childhood of human life is also linked with spring, as it marks the beginning of human life, full of joy, pleasure, play and growth. The writer expresses her concern over the exploitation of childhood in hazardous jobs like rag picking and bangle making. Abject poverty and thoughtless tradition result in the loss of childhood of millions of children like Sahib and Mukesh by working hard to support themselves and their families rather than enjoying their childhood by playing and seeking education. There is a dire need to provide these poverty-stricken children opportunity to dare and life of dignity. Thus, the title brings out the depravity of child labor in a very practical way. The author examines and analyzes the impoverished conditions and traditions that condemn children of a life of exploitation. These children are denied education and forced into hardships early in their lives. Let's have a gist of the chapter. The story Lost Spring deals with the deplorable condition of poor children who get forced to miss the simple joyful moments of childhood because of their socio-economic conditions. These children are not given the opportunity of schooling and are compelled to start working early in life. The author have analyzed the conditions of poor children and tradition that push children to live a life of exploitation. They are also denied education and face hardship quite early in their lives. The chapter has been divided into two parts. First part is a story of a boy called Sahib, who's a rag picker. Let's see what all key points are there in the story. The chapter starts with a bold lettered sentence. Sometime I find a rupee in garbage. This line is very important. The author here is analyzing the poor condition and tradition that push children to live a life of exploitation. They are also denied education and face hardships quite early in their lives. The writer come across Sahib, a rag picker whose parents have left Dhaka and their life of poverty to earn a living in Delhi. Just like many other families, even his family lives in Simapuri. They don't own any other identification other than the ration card. These children can't afford to go to school but get excited when they find a coin or even a 10 rupee note while rummaging in the garbage. This is their way of earning. The writer feels awful to see Sahib, a rag picker whose name also means the ruler of earth. But the poor child has lost his childhood and roams barefooted with the friends. See here, these are the key points which we can keep in mind. The writer comes across Sahib, a rag picker whose parents have left Dhaka and their life of poverty to earn a living in Delhi. Just like many other families, even his family lives in Simapuri. They don't own any other identification other than ration card. These children can't afford to go to school but get excited when they find a coin or a 10 rupee note in the garbage while rag picking. This is only the source of earning. The writer feels very sad. She is very upset when she sees Sahib rag picking, because here irony is his name is Sahib-e-Alam, which means the ruler of earth, but the child was so poor that he roams around barefooted with his friends. Right from the morning to afternoon, the author comes across him in a tea stall. Sahib becomes sad as he realizes that he is no longer the master of his own destiny and the loss of identity weighs heavily on his tender shoulders. The writer encounters Sahib, a rag picker whose parents have left behind the life of poverty. So let's go through the second part. I just hope you have understood the part 1 clearly. Second part starts with a bold lettered sentence that says, I want to drive a car. This sentence also has a significance. The author sheds light on another victim of child labor, Mukesh, who dreams of becoming a motor mechanic. But the child has always worked in glass making industry. They got exposed to many health hazards, such as losing their eyesight as they work in appalling condition in dark and dingy cells. Mukesh's father is blind, and even his father and grandfather were blind. So the bangle makers of Firozabad are so burdened that they have stopped dreaming like Mukesh, who wants to drive a car. The author then tells about another victim of poverty, Mukesh, who wants to be a motor mechanic and wishes to drive a car. Hailing from Firozabad, the center of India's bangle making and glass blowing industry, he has always worked in the glass making industry. He lives in a stinking surrounding with a choked lane and garbage piles all around in a half-built shack with thatched dead grass roof, with iron door, and his family of 3 generations uses firewood stove and aluminium utensils. His family, like other families, they do not know that it is illegal for children to work in such close proximity of furnaces with such high temperature. They are exposed to various health hazards like losing their eyesight as they work in abysmal conditions in dark and dingy cells. Mukesh's father is blind, as were his father and grandfather before him. They lead a hand-to-mouth existence as they are caught in the vicious web of money lenders, middlemen, police, and the traditions. So, burdened are the bangle makers of Firozabad, that most of them have lost their eyesight before even attaining adulthood. Their desire to dream and dare is snubbed in the childhood only. I just hope the second part of the chapter is also very clear to you. Thank you.